Story by The Manatee's Mind. A note to never trust GPS. My husband and I are newlyweds. We went to Florida to visit family and drove back north Friday afternoon and evening towards our home in northwest Missouri. To clarify, we were driving towards Tunica for the night to break up the 17-hour drive and get some sleep at a fun hotel. Somewhere around Jackson is where things started to get weird. Our GPS took us on a shortcut off the highway. As the sun was setting, we went through a town called Vaden. This was maybe 7:30 or 8 p.m. I remember telling my husband the town had a haunted vibe or just some bad energy, and he agreed. We kept driving as the sun went down and things got very rural. Please understand, my husband and I are from rural Missouri and have lived across the country in some spooky places, including Atchison, Kansas, if you believe in the devil's portal or whatever. We are very used to being on a dark stretch of road at night. This was different than anywhere else we've ever been. It felt like we were constantly turning in circles. For about 2 hours, we were driving and the gas gauge on our F-250 didn't move, like at all. Our truck is brand new and gets moderate gas mileage at best. We stayed at 3/4 of a tank, exactly, for hours. Typically we stop on a trip every 2.5 hours. Now, the power of suggestion. We kept talking about how this didn't feel right. Every few hundred yards, we would see houses, but none of them had any lights on. My husband said that's strange. It almost seems like the highway is abandoned. More light should be on at 8 p.m. Next house we pass, every light is on. This happened multiple times. We would say we hadn't seen something in a minute, and that thing would appear. We barely saw any other cars, but the 2 times we did, we saw a string of 4 cars of exactly the same make and model, driving in perfect proportion to one another. Some kind of white SUV. Okay, maybe a coincidence. It happened again. Like a glitch just a few miles apart. We saw another car with its hazards on. The hazards turned off immediately after we passed them. My husband only saw a couple cars in the rearview mirror, but one followed us for a few miles. My husband described seeing it as a truck with LED lights one moment and a sedan with amber lights the next. Then back to being a truck with LED. This was all in the span of maybe 10 minutes, with no outlet for someone to turn off and get on again. At one point on the trip, we drove through a small town before getting back on route. This was maybe another hour at 9 p.m. We saw no people. Cars were moving and lights were on, but no one was outside. We didn't see anyone in fast food restaurants or out in parking lots. We thought nothing of it at the moment, but looking back, isn't that strange? There were also no animals, just a few bats. Being from a rural area, we keep an eye out for deer, raccoons, armadillos, or other critters when driving at night. We only saw one deer at dusk, and it wasn't moving at all. It seemed frozen. It was looking at us, but its ears didn't twitch, it didn't run away, it just stood perfectly still. Its head was also really small, but maybe that's just a deer in Mississippi. Speaking of animals, we travel with our lap dogs. He's a senior pup, and he's ridden on my lap all over the country. He couldn't seem to settle down on these back roads. He whined and shifted way more than usual. I think the biggest thing for me was the chills I had the whole trip. Like tingling instinct type chills. Time didn't seem like it was passing normally. We felt like we were in danger. As soon as we got back on the interstate, everything seemed normal again. Animals, people, other cars, the gauges in the truck, my uneasy feeling, all back to normal. Lights were on in businesses. People were outside. My husband, who is normally very unshaken, returned to his normal self. All of my texts came in at once. My mom texted me about 2 hours before, when the weirdness started, that she had a sinking feeling about me, and whatever I was doing, I needed to be safe. I want to end by saying my husband and I are very practical people. He is in the trades and I am an educator and caretaker. We both have traveled back roads of the country in all weather at all times completely fine. Sometimes a little creeped out by the darkness, but fine. Our truck is also almost brand new and works well on long trips. We have taken it on a road trip through other rural areas recently, in fact. In Kansas, and all the gauges worked. As a science teacher, I know the behaviors of flora and fauna well. While we are devout Christians too, we are scientists and take a very level-headed approach to the supernatural. I believe God saved us from whatever vortex or ley line or something we drove through last night. Lastly, my husband and I acknowledge that we have both taken SSRIs in the past, but we never harm ourselves or others. We love life. There are so many stories, it could just be a collection of stories about people driving and winding up on roads that can't exist or feel all wrong, and they lead them to towns that don't exist or towns that are like occupied by ChatGPT androids from the future or something, or a different timeline, or I don't know what's going on. I mean, my gut still says space-time portals transporting you to different universes where things are indeed quite different. And unlike quantum immortality, where I think that your soul jumps to the nearest available universe where there's a copy of you still alive, I think that these space-time portals, if they intersect with different multiverse universes, could just go anywhere. I think the proximity is based on how similar the universes are. So if you wind up in a very distant, different universe, it could be extremely divergent. Maybe there's still dinosaurs roaming around. I mean, I've never heard a story. Actually, did I hear one? I think there was one that involved a dinosaur, but years ago. Something like that, where you're connecting to different universes, which is almost like a holodeck simulation in TNG, where you're recreating entirely different scenarios that simply can't even happen in this universe, or even ones nearby, adjacent. So I think, yeah, if you're driving and things feel weird, keep on driving, because that's the other piece of the puzzle. If a space-time portal is transitioning you to a different multiverse universe, how do you get back? Because people don't reverse usually and go back the way they came to re-intersect the same portal. When you enter one, there's another one that's ahead of you automatically. I don't know how it works, but it seems to be that people just do eventually come back. Welcome, I'm Paul, this is Dave. Today I have 8 Glitch in the Matrix and paranormal stories for you. Little meteor today. And my favorite story involves getting signs from the universe. Don't forget to like the video, and let's get to it. Story by Hispania Obscura. An orange ticket and migraine. It happened to me some 30 years ago. I took the usual bus from my university to my home, but was experiencing a heavy headache. Back then, the bus tickets were color-coded by day, and I got my orange ticket and got on the bus together with other people with the same ticket color. Then I sat down in the middle and closed my eyes. When my stop was near, I opened my eyes and felt off. All the people around me looked different. It's not like I was paying special attention, mind you, just a general awareness of the people that were close by when the trip started, and I was pretty sure these others were different. I asked to get off at my stop, but the driver told me I had to pay because he hadn't seen me getting in. I showed him the orange ticket, and he told me the tickets were blue that day. I started to argue, but then noticed everyone else had blue tickets, so I paid again, confused. During my walk home, I stopped by a public phone, it was the 90s, to call up a friend. Dialed her home number, but a man answered and told me it was the wrong number. Called again, same result. I was even more confused, and my head was killing me, so I hurried home. I found it strange that the house was empty, since my parents very rarely went out. Called their names, but finally collapsed in my bed and fell asleep. An hour later, I woke up, and when I got out of my room, my parents were there, telling me they had been there all day and confused as to how they didn't notice me arriving. I dialed my friend again, she answered, and told me no one else had been at their house all day. still don't know what to make of it. Nothing weird has happened to me ever since. In 1993, I was working at my first office job, and I moved into my first apartment without a roommate. This was in a large brick apartment complex within walking distance of the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia. Happy with the new 8th floor studio apartment, with large picture windows and living room showing me the Pentagon and DC, I wanted to get some nice things to complement the used furniture I brought in. Someone at work showed me a catalog from a company called Tiger Direct. Tiger Direct is still around today, but they specialize in computer equipment. At that time, they had a little bit of everything in their catalog, including a cool-looking and inexpensive screen I could use as a room divider. I decided to order it. Now, this was before the days of online shopping. This was before I'd ever heard of the internet. Online shopping just wasn't a thing back then. So I ordered this the old-fashioned way. I filled out the paper order form in the catalog, calculated the tax and shipping and handling charges, wrote a check to cover the amount, and put the check and the order form into the envelope. I had to affix a stamp to the envelope, and then I dropped it in the mailbox. Now, it would take a week to 10 days for first-class mail to get from one side of the country, Virginia where I lived, to the other side, California, where Tiger Direct was located. Once I got my order, they would deposit my check. Once the check cleared, they would have their warehouse people pick the item, package it up, and ship it out to me. A week to 10 days for delivery, roughly. So I was expecting about 3 to 4 weeks to get my order. It arrived the very next day. I have no explanation for how this could possibly have happened. I was very freaked out by it. I have never ordered anything else from Tiger Direct since. Okay, this is, there's not too much to say on this one because I don't know what kind of glitch could cause this. I mean, a time acceleration parameter that's wrapped just through the envelope? But no, because it's not just traveling by itself. It has to be picked up by the mailman and everything. There's no way it could make it across the country, be processed. I mean, even if the mailed check instantly teleported to the offices in California for Tiger Direct, they still have to cash the check first or deposit it. And it couldn't clear that fast. So even if you snapped your fingers and it was on their desk, you wouldn't be able to receive it the next day. There's just no way. This is one of those glitches that is just a perfect glitch, which another one coming up too. Next one I'll talk about, but yeah, there's sometimes just perfect glitches, and that's cool. I mean, I love solutions. In this case, the universe just broke, but I don't even know what that would imply. Maybe you sent it before, weeks before, and you didn't remember, but that seems so unlikely, isn't it? That's the only thing I can think of. But then I guess you could check your bank records. This was a long time ago, right? Before the internet and all that. But it would still probably show up on your bank records back then. Assuming that you did check that and it all checked out, that it processed maybe the next day, just before you received the item. I don't know. It's like predictive algorithms for them that they knew you were going to order it. So it's like Amazon, they'll stock items that they think you'll buy into warehouses near you. So that's how they manage to get things to you so fast, often. Not perfect, but that's the only thing I can think of. Some ancient predictive algorithm that they knew you're going to order it. But of course, it's more than that. As we specified, there's no way the check could even get there in time. So really cool glitch. Very unique. Story by Poduskas Snope, now featuring Delayed Gravity. Alright, so this is the first time I've experienced a glitch like this. Everything else I could explain away with being a little bit of a space cadet, but this I have no explanation for. I would love someone to just be like, oh yeah, the Mazda CRX-5 has this hidden compartment that will throw things out of it if they land in there after 24 hours. So please tell me if that is the case. I'm far too baffled by this. So yesterday, I was driving home and I always put my flume, it's a vape, don't lecture me please, my mom already told me it was the universe telling me to stop vaping, between my legs while I'm driving. It was there the whole way home and I literally hit it within 10 minutes of pulling into my parking spot. I get home and gather my stuff to go up to my apartment and reach between my legs to grab it, and it's not there. I do the obligatory search through all the usual suspects and then proceed to look in the back seat, under the seats, in the center console, the door, my bags, etc. It's nowhere. I accept my fate and proceed to find another in my apartment that I used for the night before and getting a new one in the morning. Today, 24 hours later, I get into my car at work, settle into my seat, and something hits the top back of my head hard. I'm not talking about a soft drop. It felt like it was thrown at me by a freaking baseball pitcher. The thing proceeds to fall between the back of my shoulder and the car seat, and I look, and it's my flume. I mark my flumes each time so I know which one is new because I'm not great at throwing out my old ones. This was the same flume. Now for some good info. I drive a windy road to work, so if it was on top of the headrest, it would have fallen off ages prior. I use my mirror every morning because I like to get to work early and do my makeup there because it's a 45-minute drive and it helps me decompress, so the mirror has already been opened and shut between now and then. I don't open my sunshade, and even if I did, I checked and it could not fit up there. No one was hiding in the back of my car, so I checked immediately, obviously. I am baffled. It literally felt like it was thrown at the top back of my head. What the hell? What the hell? I had not started the car at all. It was still in park and turned off. I keep thinking about this, and there's another thing that makes it even more irrational. The point at which it hit my head was still below the top of my headrest, which means, physically, to have the force it had, it would have had to come from either through the headrest and ignore matter, or it would have had to drop from above my head and defy physics. I'm so freaking confused. As a skeptic, please help. Story by Seattle Girl 01. Even the TSA must be confused. Here's the deal. I've been working in different cities recently for my company. 2 different cities that are about 1.5 hours of a flight away. So I have a very exact way of packing my bag and what I bring, as I hate to be a person who takes forever to get on and off a plane. Anyways, I hop one of these flights. I'm flying back the same day as well, later in the day, so it's a very early flight from Portland, Oregon to Spokane, Washington. My flight leaves at about 6:30 a.m., and I've taken this flight many times recently. I have 3 things with me. My dark blue carry-on luggage, a must as I have my work bag inside of it, my turquoise flight neck pillow, and my white crossbody Lululemon bag with my ID, etc. Gum, lip gloss in it, you get the drill. I go on my flight to Spokane. I always sleep on my flights, as it's a quick time passer and it's early. I arrive, and I do my work there. Then I get to the Spokane airport after my jobs to catch my flight to SeaTac, Seattle, then go to Portland. I really hate a flight that stops for a layover for such a short flight, but in this case, I had a very short work trip, so I chose the 1.5-hour layover in Seattle because I would actually get home 2 hours earlier. I rested the short flight from Spokane to SeaTac on my turquoise neck pillow, and I was happy that my flight was overpacked, so I was able to check my carry-on bag for free, so I didn't have to deal with it on the next plane. My flight to SeaTac was tight. I was in a window seat next to a guy who thankfully was in his own earbuds and thoughts. So I took my neck pillow and squished it up against the window, that little area, and was able to sleep for a few using my trusty pillow to block the view of my seatmate, being able to see me sleeping. I arrive at SeaTac. My crossbody is on me, my neck pillow in hand. I decide to use the restroom, then take a look at a couple cute airport stores that have Seattle gifts in them. I then go and have a quick bite at a restaurant and have an awesome bowl plate. I then go find my gate and take a seat. After about 10 minutes of chilling at my gate, knowing takeoff was 45 away, I suddenly realize I don't have my turquoise neck pillow with me. I must have left it in one of the gift stores or the restaurant. I jump up and sprint to those places, but sadly, no one found it. So I knew I needed another pillow because I lived for my sleep on planes. So I begrudgingly bought a brand new black neck pillow. I go to my gate again, meeting a sweet army vet with his support dog named Cooper, and told him I had jumped up and ran away earlier because I left my neck pillow somewhere, so I had to buy another. We laughed and went on talking. I then boarded my plane to Portland. I rested on the plane. Thankfully, no one was next to me this time. Window seat and row all mine. I arrive in Portland, pick up my checked dark blue carry-on bag from the baggage claim, pop my new black neck pillow on the handle, crossbody on, and head to my car in the parking garage. I get to it, open up my trunk, and put both my carry-on and my new pillow in the trunk. I pay for parking and head home. I get home, but I'm too tired to get my stuff out of my car trunk, so I just go inside with my cross bag and leave everything else. I tell my husband about my day, including the story about losing my pillow, and the army vet I met with the cute dog, etc. The next day, I go out to my car to grab my carry-on bag. It has all my work stuff in it. I go and open my trunk, and sitting there in my trunk is my dark blue carry-on bag, my new black neck pillow I bought in SeaTac, and my turquoise neck pillow I had lost. It was sitting right there on top of my black one. What the crap? I lost it at the SeaTac airport. I stood there in shock and I got chills running down my body. I never felt that before. I am sure I lost it. Remember, I used it on the first leg to Seattle to block my seatmate. I lost it, bought a new one, etc. I even told my husband and my daughter about losing my turquoise pillow because my hubby had bought it for me on a random trip to Arizona 5 years earlier. So it was special to me. I take it every work trip with me, and I slided down my carry-on bag handle. When I saw it, I took it out of the trunk. After the initial shock, I studied it. Yep, same indents on the inside where I always slide it in my bag. Same floppy tag I couldn't tear off because it was too difficult without tearing the pillow itself. It was my trusty turquoise neck pillow, the one that disappeared at SeaTac, just in the trunk of my car a day later. What the crap? And yeah, this is the other perfect glitch, and we know that items can appear and disappear. This one isn't inexplicable. It's just that how things led up to the glitch happening and then it coming back is a perfect situation to say this is impossible. There's no way you could mistake it. You didn't forget that you had it, you were carrying the pillow in your hand and then buy a new one while you still had the other one in your hand, and you didn't store it away anywhere. There was nowhere you could have stored it. Then when you came back in your trunk, and there's nothing I can think of anyways. Maybe someone else can think of some solution that I'm missing, but it seems like it disappeared and was brought back by the universe, some higher level meta entity that is managing this simulation, or if it's God, an angel, whatever it might be, but it does seem like some entity is involved in repairing these errors. Yeah. Pretty cool. That's all you got to say. Story by Warm Cheesecake, 6347. The Great Mouse Migration. No one's gonna believe me, because it sounds freaking schizo. What's really crazy is how, when it happens, it's just like, what the hell am I supposed to do about this? I guess I just move on with my day and pretend that didn't happen. Anyway, I was working at my desk, and as I moved my mouse on the mouse pad, the mouse just was no longer in my hand. To be clear, I didn't hear a fall or anything. I didn't move it swiftly or hard enough to just slide it off my desk. But it's no longer on the desk, so I'm like, okay, it must have fallen. Which didn't make sense because again, I literally had it in my hand a second ago. But clearly, it's no longer on the desk. I looked to the sides of the desk where you would realistically imagine the mouse to fall. Like if I'm moving it to the side, you would think if it fell, it would land somewhere on the floor. But it's not there. So it stops being a weird minor annoyance and starts being a like, what the hell moment. So I get down on all fours, I'm looking around the desk, and directly under the left center of the solid metal desk, directly under the mouse pad above, my mouse is sitting there perfectly seated, like not on the side, not with the battery out, no sign of having fallen. It is sitting flat directly under the solid metal desk. To give a better mental image, the only way the mouse would feasibly be in that position is if I smacked it like a hockey puck from below across the floor and it slid under the desk. Like there is no hole in the surface area of the desk for it to have gotten to that specific spot. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of weird physics-based explanation for it, but it freaked me out. And I told my sister about it and she was weirded out too. I've never had a glitch in the Matrix before, and it was such a weird minor thing that it seems stupid to even be freaked out by it, but I swear to God, it was like it fell through the solid desk to the floor. Story by Harriet Beadle. LinkedIn could never explain this. This has been over 20 years ago, and I still remember the feelings. I went to a conference for work and we were assigned seats at large round tables where they tried to seat us with people we probably didn't know. People were there from across the US. Not all worked for the same employer, but the organizations we worked for were affiliated, and sometimes we would see people we had worked with before. So at first, this feeling of familiarity between me and another woman didn't seem odd. We sat next to each other, and both felt like we knew each other, and we laughed at the fact that they tried to make us sit next to people we didn't know, but of course, here we are, and we know each other. Then we tried to work it out. Where did we know each other from? But we could not come up with any same location or work assignment or anything we had in common. Not even close coworkers in common. The conference lasted a couple days and we hung out together by choice and kept trying to figure it out. I seem to remember that as time passed, we both sort of realized we didn't know each other, not from before that conference. That strong feeling of familiarity sort of faded, but I still felt so positive toward her, like happy to see her, joy in her presence, and like I wanted to do whatever I could to just help her succeed. I just knew she was a good person and that I wanted the best for her. We got along like crazy. We clicked and appreciated each other's way of thinking. I'm about 10 years older than her. We are different ethnicities. She's much more stylish than me. We had very different life paths that get us to where we were that day. We were people who wouldn't have been in each other's lives before that day. We stayed in touch on social media for years and hoped we might get to work together one more day since we're in a similar field, but never saw each other again, and it all just sort of faded away. But that strong feeling that we both had that we knew each other was so wild, and I can still remember it and the feelings I had for her. I like love stories, not really in movies. I like when they're woven into a compelling narrative otherwise, but I just love the idea of people connecting. And it's funny because I'm a loner, I'm an introvert, I'm still single, I'm not really a romantic type, but I like stories involving that. Not just in, real stories of glitches like this, but just in general. I like the idea of that connection. Finding someone that you really, bind with and you're compatible with on that level. It's pretty cool. And I do believe in soulmates, plural. I don't believe there's just one person that you're destined or it's the only one that's perfect for you. I think there's a lot of people that are perfect for us, but finding them is still difficult. I mean, even if you have 10,000 soulmates, one of them might not even be in the city you live in, right? So the universe maybe tries to nudge people together. Nothing is forced or compelled. It's just giving you signs. And I don't know your situation, why you didn't pursue this further. Maybe you should have asked her out. Maybe she was already taken and you didn't specify. I don't know. But yeah, I think that people can be, it's actually a question too. If you're already paired up and married with someone, will the universe try to throw you curveballs by inserting someone who's even more suited for you and you have to ignore them because, loyalty and all that, which is, I recommend doing. But it is funny that the universe can be a prankster in that way too, I think. So yeah, just be on your guard because the universe will always try to trip you up. But if you're single and the other person's single and you feel this strong connection, hey, pursue it. I recommend that. You never know where it'll go. Especially when there are these signs that are so pronounced like this. Like sometimes you get a fleeting feeling and maybe that is a case where it's like a soft soulmate, you could say, but there's hard soulmates like this one, I think, where it's like, okay, we don't know each other, but we feel like we do. Our souls are tethered in some way. Let's see what happens. Story by Bibi Shuri, Confusing Soulmates. This happened in 2019, when I was 28 years old. I went to Greece with my mom and little sister. We stayed at a hotel for like 5 days or so, and on the first day, I saw a woman around 36 years old, from the same country we live in, with her partner and 3 kids. As soon as I saw her face, I felt an immediate recognition and a feeling of love come up. It was a very strong, undeniable feeling. Not like, oh, hey, I think I know her. No, it was like a very obvious, oh my god, I'm so happy to see her again, and I love her so much. It felt like I've been close with her my whole childhood, like a family member. Mind you, we have different ethnic backgrounds, even though we live in the same country, so she definitely wasn't family. Anyway, tell my mom this and she's like, yeah, I actually got the same feeling. The feeling of knowing her. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm not the only one, but holy moly, this is weird. For the next few days, I was going through my memories and trying to find out where I knew her from. I just couldn't shake the feeling off. It was too weird, and I'm the kind of person who, when confronted with something inexplicable, needs to find the answer. On the last night of our stay, my mom, my little sister, and I were drinking some mocktails at the pool. This lady and her family sat at the table next to us, and at one point, her toddler started walking around and came over to our table. That's when the lady came up to us, and my mom started a conversation. At this point, I'm like, okay, I need to get this off my chest, even though she might find me weird. It's the last night, and I'm probably never seeing her again, so F it. I'm like, hey, so I wanted to say something, but I know it's really weird. So, I have this strong feeling I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where I know you from. Her? Oh my god, I have the same feeling. Me? Oh my god, what? What the hell? Her. In fact, even your voice sounds familiar. I have a distinct, a little raspy voice. I've been thinking about where I know you from, but I don't know either. This is so weird. So for the next 30 minutes, we went through every possible thing where we would have known each other from, but the thing is, we live very far from each other. We have very different social lives, and she hasn't been around the area I live and work in, and I haven't been to her area where she lives. Not even close to that place. We have no mutual friends, we have literally no connections whatsoever. In my mind, I concluded that we must have known each other on a soul level, because what else could it be? Now time for the jokes of the day. I need to rehome a dog. It's a small terrier and tends to bark a lot. If interested, let me know. I will jump over the neighbor's fence and get it for you. Reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where Kramer and Elaine conspire with Newman to steal the neighbor's dog because it keeps yapping. Oh man. Newman had a more permanent solution in mind. What do you call a Viking who lost his boat? A hiking. My girlfriend and I were watching a cop show together. One thing that always bothered me. When the main characters storm a building, their backup come in with full body armor, heavy assault weapons, and helmets. The main characters don't. I complained about this to her, and she said they don't need all that. They have plot armor. I love that woman. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a mom joke, I guess. I went to the doctor yesterday, and she wanted me to get some blood work done. While the phlebotomist was readying the vials, she asked me, "Are you able to give a urine sample?" I responded, "You're in luck." Apparently she never heard that one before. Would think that's common, but it's a good one. I finally worked up the courage to ask my blind coworker if she was currently seeing anyone. She said, "No, but I have a boyfriend." It's tough around blind people because so much language that's automatic involves references to sight in some way. You gotta be careful. Alright, glitches up here. If you want more, check them out, and see you next time.